Welcome to Team 5-7's Robo Recap for the week of February 2nd through 7th. I'm your host, Adam Klager. After Saturday the 7th, there will be 10 days before we have to halt all construction and seal up our robot in its transportation bag. As the build season runs down, team members only tighten their focus on the primary goal of build season, completing the robot. From the beginning of the design process through prototyping and manufacture, our strategy for completing this year's game, Recycle Rush, dictates what Team 5-7 does with the robot. We spoke to the strategy lead, Jeremy Daum, about how this strategy is determined and how it drives build and competition seasons.
The strategy is set by really anyone who has an opinion. What we do is that in the very beginning of the build season, we go to the Sussex Library after we've received the game challenge, and we go over what may or may not be good things for the robot to be involved in. So we flag down any potential red herrings, or we bring up some very important things or very important rules, and then we go from there. The game strategy is really how we determine how every aspect of the robot will work and what aspects of the robot there will be. Once we have the list of what we want of the robot to do and the functions we want to be implemented, we have people go into different groups and try to make the best prototype to fit that function. The function is typically a very broad idea, like that we want to be able to take in totes from a large distance away. And then people go and try to make that part of the strategy into reality through any way they can, the most efficient way, and then we try to implement it through the robot. The strategy is really one of the fundamental things that has dictated what we've been doing this entire build season. It dictates what functions we want the robot doing, anything special or different from other years, anything that we want to just leave out of either the building or the actual competition. This affects our actual decision making during actual rounds, but it also affects what we want to build into the robot. We have a limited number of resources, so we can only go about so many things. So therefore, we have to leave some things out. And the strategy was what determined what was the least effective thing that we could leave out. What was the least efficient ways of getting points or just maintaining the robot. All of these things are affecting how we are going to compete and what we're going to do to make sure that we make the best robot for when we do compete.
While the team has a well-developed strategic vision, it can be difficult to implement these plans without a working robot. As the design process concludes, manufacturing is in high gear and the robot itself is slowly taking shape. A few weeks ago, Robo Recap spoke with the mechanical CDT lead, Jarrett Keene. We catch up with him again to let us know how construction is going and see how the mechanical CDT members are handling the pressure of meeting the deadlines.
So since last week, we have finished the superstructure for our robot, and then we have finished our stacker, which the stacker is like what stacks our totes up or sets the totes on top of each other, and then that rides on our superstructure, so it's like a big elevator, and then we finished that. So it's taken shape very well. We've welded both of our frames, so that's really cool. Well, there's challenges every year. You know, it's never going to go as planned, and it's simple mistakes, but you try to avoid them, but you can't avoid them completely. It happens, and we've overcome them by either changing a couple of things where it can work, or you just remake the part. To stay on pace this year, what we've been trying to do is I've been trying to have everyone kind of just break down on a task, and then that's all they do is they're cutting all night. They're just milling. Or if I got a person, what I'll do is we'll tag team apart. We'll have someone cut it off for them, and then the other person is running the mill and doing that end of the part. We're trying to keep all the mills running at all the time, and we're just trying to work at a pace that's competitive and well, so that we're able to finish a robot on time. For our projection for the next 2 weeks, The main goal is to have a finished robot, of course. We got to finish all machining of our parts. We got to get all the assembly work done. We want to have one functioning robot by the end of the weekend, or into week 6. This next 2 weeks we're going to be amping it up a lot more than we have. So it's time to cut the hours on the sleep and work harder.
Our course CDT is never one to spend a lot of time in the spotlight. However, their work is essential for the success of our mini-regional and many of our community demonstrations. Here to bring us up to speed on the work of course is CDT lead Tim Perry.
This year we have about 138 gray totes. We have 7 yellow totes. We have 10 recycling bins or trash containers. We have a center step that divides the field in half, and we have scoring platforms.
A lot of time and expenses go into the course. We have the kudos to the mentors who take the designs from first, the initial beginning. They cut up the pieces up accordingly, and then we set them up at the WCTC event, and then of course comes back and corrects any modifications that need to be done. So there's a lot of expense and time involved with that, in buying new pieces, cutting new pieces, and getting the full course set up.
We take our course to almost every demo we take the robot to. When we do that, it allows other teams to be able to use our course and get a more competition feel while they're playing with their robots. And then it allows other people who don't know who we are to see what we actually do more in depth.
The course itself is a replica of the actual first course. So it gives people an opportunity to, once they make their bot, to come out and play, gives the audience a chance to see the course and what it's about. To me, that helps spread the message of FIRST, because we got a short time to, with the robot, to build it, set it up, and get it ready for competition.
The Charger Robotics Mini Regional is less than a week away. On February 15th, the Hamilton High School gym in Sussex will become the home of the Sport of the Mind. The event will run from noon to 4 p.m. Come and see more than a dozen FRC teams in action as they step onto the field built by Team 537 for the first time in 2015. You can also get an opportunity to see teams problem solve behind the scenes in the pits. For younger Robo fans, there will be little robots to drive, face painting, button making, and more. Don't miss out on this great event. Thanks for joining us for this summary of the 5th week of build season. Tune in next week for Team 537 Robo Recap. Thanks for watching.